Brendan Dassey trial transcript day 2, page 120, continuation of Attorney Edelstein's cross-examination of Kucharski. You first testified that when you went in, when you characterized it as a general search and that you weren't looking for anything specific? Yes. What are you searching for under what you describe as a general search? Anything that stood out, any type of evidence that stood out. Prior to going in there on the 6th, were you advised by Fossbender or anyone else to look for any particular items? Not that I recall, no. Before you went in there with the search team, were you briefed by the agent in charge at the command center? No, I was getting most of my orders from Lieutenant Bowe or Lieutenant Sipple, and they were getting it from the investigators in charge of or someone else. So before you went in on the 6th, did you even go down there to the command center? Yes, I would check in at the command center before each assignment to get or after each assignment, and at the beginning of each day to get the next assignment. Now, the bedding that you picked up that you testified about on direct, that was from Stephen Avery's trailer, correct? Yes. Specifically, what did the bedding consist of? Let me do it this way. Was there a pillowcase? I don't remember. Was there a quilt or any sort of blanket you took? I took several sets of bedding off of the property, and I don't remember exactly what was in each set. Do you recall specifically what you took off of the bed at the time you were there? No, that's what I'm referring to. Well, did all the bedding that you took come off of the bed, or did it come from, for example, from a closet or some sort of storage container? All of the bedding that I took came off of a bed. Are you aware of any other bedding that was removed that you did not take or that somebody else took? I'm not aware of. As to any of the bedding that you may have taken, well, first of all, let's establish the date. What date did you do that? I took the bedding on the 6th of November. I took bedding on the 8th of November. From the same bed? No. How many beds were in the trailer? 2. On the 6th, which bed did you take it from? On the 6th, I took the bedding from the spare bedroom in Stephen Avery's trailer. I take it then on the 8th you took it from the bed in what's been described as Steve's bedroom? Yes. And you don't have a specific recollection of the individual items on either date? Correct. Just generally described as bedding? Correct. On the 8th, you took the Bissell carpet cleaner? Yes. On the 6th, you took the vacuum cleaner? Yes. Did you take the vacuum itself, or did you just take the bag? The vacuum itself. And you understood that to be important because of the potential for obtaining evidentiary clues, for example, hair? No, at that time I was instructed to pick it up. Did you have during the course of your training as an evidence tech, in addition to the techniques that you're taught about preserving the integrity of the object, I assume you learn a little something about why the object might have some relevancy in a criminal investigation. Is that a fair statement? Yes. And you're not going to argue with me if I say taking the vacuum cleaner would be important because sometimes fiber evidence is contained in those bags. You know that, don't you? Why it was taken, you'd have to ask the person that instructed me to take it. So you have no opinion as to why it would be important to take it? My opinion would be yes, probably for some type of trace evidence. Okay. Were you instructed to remove any carpeting from Steve Avery's trailer? No, I wasn't. Did you remove any? No, I didn't. Did you remove any carpet from any of the other locations you visited during the course of your participation in the investigation? Not that I remember. Well, that's something you would remember, isn't that? If you cut out a piece of carpet and turned it over to somebody for evidentiary purposes, isn't it? I didn't cut out any carpet. Well, you just said you didn't remember, but now you remember that you didn't, right? I remember I didn't cut out any carpet. If I picked up carpet, slim possibility, but I don't remember it. As to the items you did collect, did you regularly turn them over to the same individual from the lab? I never turned over any items to any lab personnel. Did you turn over the items you did collect to the same individual? Yes. And who was that? Deputy Hawkins. So everything you picked up, from bedding, the shell casings, carpet stuff, the cleaner stuff, the bullets, all of that went over to Hawkins? Yes. All right, that's all. Thank you. The court, any redirect, counsel? Attorney Kratz. Just one question. Redirect examination by Attorney Kratz. Mr. Edelstein asked you what you knew and who told you or why you might have searched the garage. On the 6th, the day that you did search the garage, the 6th of November, were you told that anybody had yet made any statements about Teresa Halbach being shot in that garage? Attorney Edelstein. And I object and call for a hearsay answer. The court. I think it's a fair question. Overruled. The witness. No, I did not. Attorney Kratz, if you would have been told that Brendan Dassey or Stephen Avery or somebody else would have made a statement that Teresa Halbach would have been shot in that garage, would you have done a different kind of search on the 6th? Absolutely. When information like that comes in, that helps to direct your search. Attorney Kratz, with the indulgence of the court, Judge, I'm going to try this again. If it doesn't work, we'll have to wait until after lunch. I think Mr. Freeman's helped me, Judge. Attorney Freeman, can you say that for the record? Wherein phone message is played. Hello, this is Teresa with Auto Trader Magazine. I'm the photographer and just giving you a call to let you know that I could come out there today in the afternoon. It will probably be around 2 o'clock or even a little later. But if you could please give me a call back and let me know if that will work for you, because I don't have your address or anything. So I can't stop by without getting a call back from you. And my cell phone is 737-4731. Again, it's Teresa, 920-737-4731. Thank you. Attorney Kratz, once again, Judge, we will have that marked as an exhibit. I will offer that to the court. By Attorney Kratz. My last question is that, in fact, Deputy Kucharski, the message that you heard from the Yonda residence when you searched it on the 6th of November, yes, it is. Attorney Kratz, that's all I've got, Judge. Thank you. The court, all right. Any cross related to that? Attorney Edelstein, just very briefly, Your Honor, this is not necessarily as to this last item that Mr. Kratz just dealt with, but in response to his other question. Recross-examination by Attorney Edelstein. Officer, if you did not know that Brendan Dassey had allegedly given information that Miss Halbach had been shot in that garage, can you explain to me why you took the 22 shells from the trailer as well as the 22 rifle? The .22 rifle was taken from the trailer on instructions from supervisor. The ammunition was taken from the trailer on a different date from instructions by a supervisor. Attorney Edelstein, that's all. Attorney Kratz, one other question. Redirect examination by Attorney Kratz. Stephen Avery was a convicted felon at the time and couldn't possess a weapon. That's true, isn't it? Yes, it is. And it's another reason to take the gun, to take the weapon that... Attorney Edelstein, Your Honor, I object. It's leading, suggestive. The court, it's leading, suggestive. Attorney Edelstein, it's irrelevant. The court, it's Attorney Kratz, it's not irrelevant at all, Judge. The court, counsel? Attorney Kratz, he said it was irrelevant, Judge. It was certainly not. The court, it was leading and suggestive. It was not irrelevant. Attorney Kratz, that's all I have. Thank you, Judge. The court, all right, you may step down. We will adjourn for the lunch hour. Mr. Kratz, you have more witnesses today. What time do you expect your first witness to be here for this afternoon? Attorney Kratz, we can certainly begin anytime after 1 if the court wants to. The court, how about 1 o'clock? That sounds perfect. The court, all right, we'll be back then at 1. Again, I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, not to speak about this case or anything connected with it. Recess had at 11:54 a.m., reconvened at 1:01 p.m. The court, good afternoon. I think we're ready to proceed, Mr. Kratz. Attorney Fallon, good afternoon. I'll be handling this afternoon's witnesses. State will commence testimony this afternoon with Dr. John Ertl. The court, all right. The clerk, please raise your right hand. John Ertl, called as a witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. The clerk, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness, my name is John Ertl, Johnertl. Direct examination by Attorney Fallon. Are you employed, sir? I work for the State Crime Laboratory in Madison. And how long have you worked for the State Crime Laboratory in Madison? Since January of 2000. What do you do for them? I am chiefly a DNA analyst in the DNA Analysis Unit. I'm also involved with the Crime Scene Response Team. What does the Crime Lab Response Team do? We offer assistance to law enforcement agencies in the processing and collecting of evidence at crime scenes. And typically it will involve a homicide. Typically, what does a team consist of, this response team? Well, it can be as little as answering a phone call and answering some questions that you might have. If we actually respond to the scene, we typically take 2 people. One person to take notes and interact with the agency. The other one is chiefly a photographer. And is this response team also known as a field response team? Field response unit? That's what it says on the side of the van that we drive around, yes. All right. And typically, do some of these response teams, do they include more than 2 people on occasion? Yes, typically the minimum would be 2. 3 is more usual. For very involved cases, sometimes we'll take as many as 4. Now, you indicated your role typically when you're not doing field response. Is that as an analyst? Right, in the DNA unit. And when these field response teams are put together, are there other disciplines reflected in the makeup of the team? Yes, the team isn't so much made up of people from specific units for specific tasks at the scene. Rather, it's a volunteer unit that people from the entire lab feel that they can contribute to it. And then we go on the rotational basis to be on call. And I just happened to be on call when this call came in. How long have you been a member of the field response unit? Since 2002. Approximately how many crime scenes have you had an opportunity to respond to as a member of the field response unit? It's a guess, I would guess maybe 20 to 30. Well, before we get into the particular details of your response in this case, let's find out a little bit about yourself, Doctor. Would you first of all tell us about your educational background? First of all, I'm a mister. I'm not a doctor. I have a master's degree in molecular biology, University of Wisconsin Parkside. That's where my bachelor's degree in chemistry was from as well. And when did you receive that again? Bachelor's degree was in 1984 and master's degree in 1992. And from which institution did you receive your master's degree? The University of Wisconsin at Parkside. And when did you receive that particular degree? In 1992. After receiving that degree, what pursuit did you follow in terms of your education or job training? I obtained that degree while I was working at the university as a research specialist in a plant in molecular biology laboratory. After I left the university, I went and worked for Abbott Laboratories in Waukegan, Illinois for a while, where I worked on diagnostic acetates using DNA techniques. From there, I moved to the State Crime Laboratory in Milwaukee, where I was trained as a serologist and a DNA analyst. From what time period did you work in Milwaukee? From 1997 in March until about November of 1998. And what occurred in November of 98? Where did you move next? I moved down to Austin, Texas, and I worked for a short time at the MD Anderson Cancer Research Center in Smithville. And then I moved to the State Crime Laboratory. It's called the Department of Public Safety Crime Laboratory in Austin, Texas. And how did you work for the Texas State Crime Lab? How long did you work for the Texas State Crime Lab? Until December of 1999, and then I moved back to Madison to work at the laboratory in Madison. Very well. What are, again, returning to your job experiences particularly as a member of the field response unit, what types of cases does the field response unit usually get called in on? Usually it's a homicide. Missing persons are also something we get involved in. We get calls anytime the agency has any question about anything. How should they collect a certain item of evidence? We usually don't respond unless it's bigger than that. Usually we respond to smaller agencies. The county sheriff's department. Generally, we don't respond to the larger cities because they have their own crime scene response people. All right, let's direct your attention then to this particular case, Mr. Ertl. On Saturday, November 5th, 2005, were you called to assist in the investigation of the missing person, Teresa Halbach? Yes, I was. Tell us how you became involved. Well, it was around noon on Saturday, and I received a call from it's called the time control system. They're the people who take the laboratory phone calls while we're not actually at the laboratory. And he directed me to call Manitowoc County and to ask for a Detective Dave Remaker, and so I did that. And he indicated that they were working on a missing persons case out of Calumet County, and the vehicle from the missing person had been located in a salvage yard in Manitowoc County, and it looked as if it had been concealed in some way. There were things around it, and they were looking for assistance in recovering the vehicle. All right, what did you do? I talked with him about it. He indicated that the weather was threatening, and for a vehicle, if it's out in the weather, that could jeopardize any fingerprint evidence, could jeopardize any biological evidence that may be on the outside of the vehicle. I suggested that they get it covered if they could. And I contacted my director, told him about it, and he indicated to me that I should go up and help out with that. Did you, in fact, then eventually leave Madison to help out? Yes. Approximately what time did you leave Madison? It was about 1:15 p.m. that same day. Who, if anyone, accompanied you on this response? Yes, Mr. Guang Zhang, Z-H-A-N-G. All right. He was the photographer and I was the team leader. Anyone else accompanied you for this initial response? No, just the two of us. What time did you arrive at the salvage yard? Bill, I believe it was around 4 p.m. What happened when you arrived? What did you do first? Well, there were several roadblocks that we had to pass through when we finally got to a checkpoint where our names were taken, and then we were directed up to a place where there was some fire trucks and some canopies laid out, or coming off the fire trucks, and told to look for the people who were in charge. And we found Tom Fossbender and Mark Wiegert.